"As for regret," said Marianne, "I have done with that as far as he is concerned. At present, if I could be assured that he never was so very wicked as my fears have sometimes fancied him since the story of that unfortunate girl—" She stopped. Elinor joyfully treasured her words as she answered, "If you could be assured of that, you think you should be easy?" "Yes." "How, then," asked her sister, "would you account for his behaviour?" "I would suppose him only fickle, very, very fickle." Elinor said no more. She was debating within herself on the eligibility of beginning her story directly. Marianne pressed her hand and continued, "To say that I shall soon, or that I shall ever, forget Willoughby would be idle. His remembrance can be overcome by no change of circumstances or opinions, but it shall be regulated, it shall be checked by religion, by reason, by constant employment." She paused, and added in a lower voice, "If I could but know his heart, everything would become easy." Elinor, who had now been for some time reflecting on the propriety or impropriety of speedily hazarding her narration, soon found herself leading to the fact. She managed the recital, as she hoped, with address, prepared her anxious listener with caution, related simply and honestly the chief points on which Willoughby grounded his apology. Marianne said not a word. She trembled, her eyes were fixed on the ground, and her lips became whiter than even sickness had left them. She caught every syllable with panting eagerness. Her hand, unknowingly to herself, closely pressed her sister's, and tears covered her cheeks. Elinor, dreading her being tired, led her towards home, and till they reached the door of the cottage talked of nothing but Willoughby. As soon as they entered the house, Marianne, with a kiss of gratitude and these two words, just articulate through her tears, "Tell Mamma," withdrew from her sister and walked slowly upstairs. Mrs. Dashwood did not hear unmoved the vindication of her former favourite. She rejoiced in his being cleared from some part of his imputed guilt. She wished him happy. But nothing could remove the guilt of his conduct towards Eliza. Nothing could replace him, therefore, in her former esteem, nor injure the interests of Colonel Brandon. In the evening, when they were all three together, Marianne began voluntarily to speak of him again. "I wish to assure you both," she said, "that I see everything, as you can desire me to do. It is a great relief to me, what Elinor told me this morning. I have now heard exactly what I would wish to hear." For some moments her voice was lost, but recovering herself, she added, and with greater calmness than before, "I am now perfectly satisfied. I wish for no change." Marianne's lips quivered. "Do you really think him selfish?" "The whole of his behaviour," replied Elinor, "from the beginning to the end of the affair, has been grounded on selfishness. It was selfishness which first made him sport with your affections." "It is very true. My happiness was never his object." "At present," continued Elinor, "he regrets what he has done. And why does he regret it? Because he finds it has not answered towards himself. It has not made him happy." "I have no doubt of it," said Marianne, "and I have nothing to regret. Nothing but my own folly." "Rather say your mother's imprudence, my child," said Mrs. Dashwood. "She must be answerable." Marianne would not let her proceed, and Elinor, satisfied that each felt their own error, wished to avoid any survey of the past that might weaken her sister's spirits. She therefore, pursuing the first subject, immediately continued, "One observation may, I think, be fairly drawn from the whole of the story, that all Willoughby's difficulties have arisen from the first offence against virtue, in his behaviour to Eliza Williams. That crime has been the origin of every lesser one, and of all his present discontents."